What's going on, everyone? Let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks and DeAndre Hunter. Reunite the Lakers and Hunter. The Lakers were the ones that technically drafted him. On the surface, 26 years old, 6'8", got good size, good versatility, could play both forward spots. You can even slot him at the two. This is a guy that is looked at as a 3-and-D guy. Now, defensively, he's not like great, but also Atlanta hasn't been great, and he's also slotted alongside Trey, and so what does he look like alongside, say a Anthony Davis, a Jared Vanderbilt, right? Lakers can kind of get a point of attack defensive guard, like a Bruce Brown or something like that, right? Can he kind of uptick his defensive performance? He's had solid defensive seasons. Last year, he was a defensive rating of 121, but Atlanta was just terrible defensively, period. So it's not like, defensive rating is based on, the overall impact and who's around you, right? So, yes, I do think he could be a legit 3-and-D guy. The Atlanta Hawks drafting Rizdache makes him more expendable. I mean, there were talks about the Atlanta Hawks potentially trading him even before all this, right? They want to kind of get off of his money. They're kind of retooling, headed in a different direction. I know on the surface, people are going to look at it and go, why would Atlanta want to trade with the Lakers? They have the Lakers pick next year. Hunter's not, like Trey, okay, I can understand that, right? Because if Trey works, the Lakers now have like contention hopes, right? But Hunter, you'd need other pieces, right? Comparing him to a Jeremy Grant or a Cam Johnson, right? Like those two guys I would prefer, right? I just think both of those guys are the next level, but Hunter may be the cheapest out of all of them. He also has multiple years on his contract. Now, this season coming up, he only has 21, we'll call it 22 million, because it's a little over, and Lakers have to send out more salary than they take back, so about 22 million. So he's in the range of Cam Johnson, right? But then he has a salary of 23 million and then 24, almost 25 million in 2026, 2027. So you'd be doing Atlanta solid by getting off a bunch of salary. Now, you may have to work out some type of 3-team deal to where, maybe D'Lo's going somewhere to bring him in. Would they maybe want Rui? Possibly. Maybe a Gabe Vincent? Possibly. Could you do something where it's like Rui and Gabe Vincent? Maybe you're getting a Hunter right? Do the Lakers maybe look to add on a Clint Capella, right? And go, hey, we'll take Capella and we'll take Hunter. Solve your center position as well as your small forward position. Give you that 3-and-D guy. Give you that center that can back up, start. Now, Clint Capella's making 20 million. And he's not the player he once was. But a couple things about Clint Capella. One, he's still one of the better offensive rebounders in the league, which the Lakers could really use. Still can hold his own and block shots at the rim and slot Anthony Davis alongside him. I do think that they could be a solid pairing. But more than anything, he's an expiring contract, right? So you'd have some flexibility, maybe flip him down the road, but also if it works, right, and let's say he is great, say he does work well, and, he does fill that role and that need that we need, do you re-sign him on a cheaper deal? Maybe instead of 20 million, maybe you're signing him on like a, Valanciunas type deal. Maybe it's like a 2-3 year, $20-30 million type of contract, and you've cleared 10 million off your books. LeBron James could restructure his contract next season if you wanted to, kind of maybe clear off some cap space to go get a solid piece or two, maybe in free agency next year when the free agency class on the surface appears to be a lot better. Right, a couple things you got to keep in mind with that. One, a lot of guys are going to extend, going to get new contracts, things like that. And with the new CBA, teams are able to negotiate and have those discussions to sign players early. So you saw that even this season, right? You're going to see a lot of players even next year kind of stick around with their current teams. So a lot of guys might be taken off the market, but it is and shaping up and looking like a solid free agency class to where maybe you get some pieces, right? So if it works out, maybe you're getting a Hunter and a Clint Capella, and maybe you're taking all that salary on and not have to give up a bunch of firsts and stuff like that. Maybe you could keep some of your assets, right? Hunter, I don't think is worth a first. Atlanta, of course, they're going to want a first, but I do think push comes to shove, right? It's kind of like, hey, we'll take Capella off your hands. We'll take, Hunter, kind of do something like that. Like, kind of maybe use Clint Capella as an incentive to, basically, hey, we're taking on all this salary, taking on multiple years of Hunter, kind of shape it and mold it that way. I definitely think you would get some upgrades in that regard. Now you're talking like $42 million in salary. So, they'd be taking back some guys too, but, like Rui makes a lot of sense for them, kind of gives them another, score, and he could slot in at the 4 spot, which is his natural position, just kind of provide that role. D'Lo, you could work out, maybe send to a third team. Like there's a path there. But even just Hunter on the surface, just kind of focus on him for a moment, right? Like, I like the idea of Hunter. I'm not against it. Again, I'd probably prefer Cam Johnson. I'd probably prefer Jeremy Grant. But like bang for your buck, I think he's up there. He's a guy go get you 16 plus a game, get you a couple rebounds, get you a couple assists, right? Get you, he's not like elite shooting the 3 ball, which is why I'd rather have Johnson and as well as Jeremy Grant. But also he'd be slotted alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. To me, it boils down to, as always, the cost, right? Like if he's the cheapest get out of Grant, him, and Cam Johnson, then I would look to go get a Hunter, right? Like if you can get Hunter for, say, 3 seconds, but everyone else is a first, then you go do that. But let's say if he's the same price, ultimately, like if they are firm on a first, and Cam Johnson's a first and Jeremy Grant is a first, because I do think Portland will eventually drop to just 1 first. If they're all equal, then I'd prefer Johnson or Grant at that point. But if Atlanta's like, hey, we really want to get off of him, get off of his contract, they do now have several guys that kind of fill that void, fill that need, and can play in that spot. Again, the rookie, right? Do they kind of go, okay, like, let's just try to get off of him, right? There hasn't been a lot of talk and buzz about him thus far, but there has been talks that, hey, he's available, right? They want to unload some of these guys on Atlanta, which is also going to be interesting to see how it works out with Trey. Like the trade talks with Trey just completely died down, and not even from a Lakers standpoint, right? There was like the Spurs and like there was a handful of teams that were supposedly interested in Trey, and also a lot of talks about Trey kind of forcing his way out. Obviously, things could change, but so far, nothing. Like, Trey hasn't even really been like, hey, get me out of here type thing. Obviously, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? Like, Dame kind of kept things in-house, kept things quiet up until it wasn't. So maybe that's something similar, right? Kind of like, hey, shop these guys, see what you can get. Depending on what you get, maybe I'll stick around. If not, then, the problem is again, like, what, because I don't think fit would be a problem. I think he'd slot in easily. I think he's a guy that go, but I don't like Cam Johnson and especially Jeremy Grant. I think could be your third guy, could kind of be your third option guy. I look at Hunter more as like your 4th or 5th guy, but he does slot in. He does play nice. And again, you could, even if you wanted to, slot him in at the 2 spot and kind of have him have his size. I do like his size. I do like his length. I do like his versatility, right? If he can kind of hone in on the defensive side of things, then I like him even more. Again, he's shown when he's locked in and engaged, particularly on the defensive side, that he can hold his own and can be versatile on that front. But if he's going to be like how he was last year, where he was a liability really on the defensive side, it's where I kind of go, I'd rather almost not do anything, right? I'd almost rather stay pat. But if he's a guy that is committed and says, hey, like, I'll whatever you guys need, get me out of Atlanta type thing, then yeah, go get Hunter. And again, it's different when you're slotted alongside, non-defensive guys, and you're one of the worst defensive teams in the league compared to the Lakers with Anthony Davis and, like I said, potentially Jared Vanderbilt, and you got Max Christie And, you got several pieces on the defensive side that are just going to be better than what Atlanta was able to put out there as far as like a product on the defensive side goes, right? And so to me, I don't hate the idea. It's not my favorite player, but like if tomorrow we got news that the Lakers managed to sign DeAndre Hunter, I'd be stoked, right? I'd be hyped. But again, as always, it's, DeAndre Hunter right? If we get DeAndre Hunter, that's great, but we need another piece, whether it's, Wendell Carter Jr., or Walker Kessler, or Bruce Brown, maybe it is a Jeremy Grant still. Well, Jeremy Grant might be a little tough, but, a Cam Johnson, right? Maybe you're getting that and kind of going the big route, right? So depending on what you end up getting, right? If Hunter is another addition, not the addition, then I think the Lakers would be in good shape. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of DeAndre Hunter? Do you think, stay away from DeAndre Hunter, right? Like, he's not the guy. Go get Cam Johnson. Go get a Jeremy Grant. Go get something like that. Is there anyone in particular outside of that you'd like? Would you be open to like a Clint Capella and Hunter to kind of solve the center position, give you that flexibility in the offseason? If he works, then yeah. If not, you always could just trade him at deadline, stuff like that. Like, how do you feel in regards to that? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.